Breaking news, a home that survived the Civil War has burned to the ground in an early morning fire. Alexander Cohen on the scene for us this morning. Alexander, the fire, it has just been burning for hours now.
It really has, Amy. Now that the sun's come up, you can see a lot of people have stopped by here to see this place that was such a historic and symbolic home in this community. I just got an update actually from one of the fire captains. He tells me he's requesting some mutual aid to help out in this investigation. They're going to bring out a canine officer to sniff for accelerants. According to firefighters who got here on scene, someone had originally called 911 around 1:30 this morning to report that the home was fully engulfed. When they got here, power lines were down and they were arcing, so that did hurt them in their process a bit. We're told this is the historic Joseph Wilson home. It was built in 1861 and it survived the Civil War. One of the owners tells me that the Annie Moses Band was hoping to preserve this home and turn it into a music school one day. Robin Wolliver says they have been in a lengthy court battle involving the past owner, so she's concerned over what sparked this blaze. She says she is devastated by this loss.
The entryway didn't have a staircase, and that's because the Union soldiers, when they came through, said they were going to burn the place, and so he canceled the staircase that was to be built and delivered. When they came back through, the women all met them at the road with food, so they didn't burn this mansion. The fire marshal with Williamson County Fire Rescue tells me he does not believe the fire is suspicious at this point, and you can hear some of those popping noises over my shoulder. He tells me that's butane because they were in the process of renovating and restoring this historic home. Reporting live in Williamson County, Alexander Cohen, News Channel 5.
Alexandra, thank you. And more breaking news we're watching for you here on The Plus. 2 men still on the run after back-to-back armed robberies. News Channel 5's Dan Kennedy has been talking with the South Precinct detectives all morning long. Dan, this is the second time that one of these businesses has been robbed in just the past week, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's a Delta Express over on Harding Place, Steve. It was hit last Wednesday morning, and it was hit again this morning. Pretty much the same case. They arrested the suspects from last week, so they know it is different people. But in both cases, they got away with some cash and cigarettes. But there's also another story we want to tell you about. This Waffle House was hit overnight. It happened about 3:30. This was the video from when it was a very active scene. Police have since left. It's back open. Customers are here. But about 3:30 this morning, a man wearing a bandana and with a handgun walked into this restaurant and got away with a small amount of cash and then took off running. They're looking for one black male in this instance, and they don't know which direction he went. They're still looking for him. Earlier that morning, about an hour earlier, and just down the road on Harding Place, 2 men robbed this Delta Express. They walked in, they were wearing hoodies. They got away with some cash and cigarettes. One was armed with a handgun. They ran away. That's the same store that was hit last week. Now, police don't think that these two are connected, the Waffle House and the Delta Express, but they do think the folks who robbed that Delta Express are the same 2 people who tried to rob a Mapco just down the road earlier this morning. It happened about 20 minutes before they hit the Delta Express. And Steve and Amy, an alert clerk was outside of that store. She saw these 2 men in hoodies approaching. She thought something was amiss, so she went inside her store. She locked the doors and hit the panic button. That's when police arrived, but at the same time, detectives say those 2 armed men were hitting another store. Reporting live this morning in South Nashville, Dan Kennedy, News Channel 5.
All right, Dan, thank you for the update on that. A baby is fighting for his life this morning after a car slammed into a mom and the baby pushing along in a stroller in Clarksville. It happened yesterday on Dover Road after a woman stopped and asked if Ashley Mansell and her son Jason needed a ride. Troopers say 18-year-old Robert Moore swerved to avoid that car that had stopped in the road and slammed into the mom and the baby instead. This is a stretch of roadway that residents want fixed.
A lot of rental property in the area, whether it be an apartment complex or houses. So there's a lot of foot traffic on the highway. The ideal situation, they would come in and put some sidewalks just on one side of the road.
Dover Road doesn't have any sidewalks, and there's really not a shoulder either. And the grass is so high that pedestrians really have to walk in the roadway. No word if that driver is going to face any charges.
And the woman at the center of a News Channel 5 investigation says she's ready to plead guilty to federal charges. A grand jury indicted Wendy Askins for financial crimes involving the Upper Cumberland development in Cookeville 3 years ago. Askins initially pleaded not guilty, but will appear in court this morning to change that plea. We will have the latest on our News Channel 5 app and on our website, newschannel5.com. State Representative Jeremy Durham is the subject of a federal investigation involving campaign spending, according to the Tennessean. Officials with the State Registry of Election Finance say there is a discrepancy between campaign finances and Durham's bank account. Durham's attorney says he's cooperating and claims that he's innocent. You'll remember Durham suspended his re-election campaign in July following sexual harassment scandals on Capitol Hill.
2 local high school athletic programs are under the microscope this morning. One regarding an incident that happened inside a locker room. We're told students were involved in a bullying and harassment incident at Summertown High School. That's down in Lawrence County, right there on the Alabama line, last Tuesday. At the disciplinary hearing, 3 students were suspended, placed in an alternative school, and kicked off the athletic teams there in Summertown. Now let's head north. The other one is on the Kentucky line up in Clarksville. Northeast High School's football coach suspended for a couple of days, and 2 assistant coaches are now off the job totally. A school district spokesperson tells us it stems from a, quote, lack of supervision at a summer football camp that took place at the school. They turned their findings over to the police department, but it was determined no criminal charges will be filed. No word exactly what the problem was there.
3 teens accused of carrying out a brutal hazing attack in East Tennessee will go to trial today. The 3 former basketball players at Ooltewah High are charged with rape in connection to an incident at a tournament in Gatlinburg. This was last December. Several coaches and administrators are also facing charges in connection to this incident.